Good evening. This is All India Radio. I am Valsa Williams and with me is Abhinet Shukla with the evening news. The headlines. Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs approves highest ever fair and remunerative price of 305 rupees per quintal for sugarcane farmers. Lok Sabha passes Central Universities Amendment Bill 2022, provides for establishing central universities in various states. Parliament passes National Anti-Doping Bill 2021. Bill prohibits athletes, athlete support personnel and other persons from engaging in doping. Centre launches State University Research Excellence Scheme to create robust research and development ecosystem. Government says coal production registered growth of over 26% during April to July this year in the country. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to inaugurate and lay foundation stone of various projects in Gujarat at 4:30 p.m. through video conferencing tomorrow. Enforcement Directorate seals Young India office at Herald House in New Delhi. The United States issues travel advisory to its citizens, cautioning them of higher potential for anti-American violence after the death of Ayman al-Zawahiri. And in Commonwealth Games in Birmingham, Lovepreet Singh wins bronze medal in men's 109 kilogram weightlifting. The Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs CCEA has approved fair and remunerative price of sugarcane for sugar season 2022-23, October to September. It has approved the highest ever fair and remunerative price, FRP, of 305 rupees per quintal for sugarcane farmers. The FRP for sugar season 2022-23 is 2.6% higher than current sugar season 2021-22. FRP of sugarcane is fixed to ensure a guaranteed price to sugarcane growers. The decision will benefit 5 crore sugarcane farmers and their dependents, as well as 5 lakh workers employed in the sugar mills and related ancillary activities. In the past 8 years, the government has increased fair and remunerative price by more than 34%, aimed at increasing the income of farmers. The government today said about 99.3 lakh metric tons of sugar has been exported during the current sugar season 2021-22. In a written reply in the Lok Sabha, Minister of State for Food and Public Distribution, Sadhvi Niranjan Jyoti, said the government put sugar in the restricted category from June to the 31st of October this year to ensure sufficient availability of sugar for domestic consumption at a reasonable price.
Lok Sabha today passed the Central Universities Amendment Bill 2022, which provides for establishing central universities in various states by amending the Central Universities Act of 2009. The bill, introduced by Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan in the lower house, seeks to convert the Vadodara-based National Rail and Transportation Institute, a deemed university, to Gati Shakti Vishwavidyalaya, which will be a central university. Parliament has passed the National Anti-Doping Bill 2022 with Rajya Sabha approving it today. Lok Sabha had passed it on last Wednesday. The bill seeks to provide a statutory framework for the functioning of the National Anti-Doping Agency (NADA) and the National Dope Testing Laboratory (NDTL) in sports. Its functions include planning, implementing and monitoring anti-doping activities as well as investigating anti-doping rule violations. Moving the bill, Youth Affairs and Sports Minister Anurag Thakur said, the bill is intended to protect the interest of sportspersons and provide benefit to the athletes by creating awareness among them about doping. He said if an athlete is found to be involved in doping, then the possibility of winning medals in tournaments gets hampered.
कुल मिला के सर इससे खेल और खिलाड़ियों को लाभ मिलेगा, क्योंकि सर अगर कोई भी व्यक्ति डोप करता है और वो पाया जाता है टेस्ट में, न केवल उसकी भागीदारी खत्म हो जाती है, बल्कि साथ ही साथ हमारे मेडल जीतने की संख्या भी उस दृष्टि से कम हो जाती है. तो इसके बारे में जागरूकता भी बढ़े, टेस्टिंग भी हो, सुविधाएं भी बढ़े, तो खेल और खिलाड़ियों के हित में आज इस बिल को लाया गया है.
In her maiden speech, nominated member P.T. Usha said that Indian sportspersons have made India proud. She said that special attention should be given to the field of sports science and sports medicine. She expressed concern on abuse of doping.
I am happy to state that after 2014, our country has been making enviable progress in various fields, including unparalleled achievements in field of sports. And that is why today's generation and experiencing district to district better training facilities in varieties of sports. Facilities such as synthetic tracks, swimming pools and gymnasiums and other amenities are being made readily available.
The government today launched the State University Research Excellence Scheme to augment the research capabilities in a structured way to create a robust research and development ecosystem in the state and private universities and colleges. Secretary, Department of Science and Technology, Dr. Srivari Chandrasekhar said, the new scheme will help bring the university system into mainstream research and enable the young faculty to participate in cutting-edge research. The total coal production has increased to over 265 million tons during April to July this year in the country, registering a growth of over 26% on year-on-year basis. The total coal dispatches to power plants have been to the tune of over 250 million tons during the same period, registering a growth of more than 21%.
In order to create a strong ecosystem for 5G services, the government has selected 31 companies under Production Linked Incentive PLI scheme. Replying to various questions in Lok Sabha on 5G spectrum, auction and services related issues, MOS for Communications Devo Singh Chauhan said an indigenous 5G test bed has been set up at a cost of 224 crore rupees to facilitate experimenting and demonstrating 5G products, applications and use cases. In the recently concluded auction, 71% of total 5G spectrum has been sold at an amount of 1,50,173 crore rupees. 5G technologies help in high speed, low latency, high connection density and greater reliability. The government has said that more than 4,000 crore rupees are deposited in India Post Payments Bank IPPB. In a written reply in Lok Sabha, MOS for Communications Minister Devo Singh Chauhan informed that IPPB with 75% rural customers with a total of 5.47 crore savings accounts had financial transactions to the value of over 2 lakh crore rupees. Nearly 23,000 crore rupees of cash distributed at the doorsteps of the customers of other banks.
The Union Cabinet has approved India's updated Nationally Determined Contribution NDC to be communicated to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change UNFCCC. The updated NDC seeks to enhance India's contributions towards achievement of the strengthening of global response to the threat of climate change as agreed under the Paris Agreement. Such action will also help India usher in low-emission growth pathways. It will protect the interests of the country and safeguard its future development needs based on the principles of provisions of the UNFCCC. The Finance Ministry today released the fifth monthly installment of post-devolution revenue deficit grant of over 7,183 crore rupees to 14 states. The grant has been released as per the recommendations of the 15th Finance Commission. The Ministry said the 15th Finance Commission has recommended a total post-devolution revenue deficit grant of 86,201 crore rupees to 14 states for the financial year 2022-23.
Chemicals and Fertilizers Minister Dr. Mansukh Mandviya has said the government is committed to ensure availability of fertilizers for farmers and will continue to work towards ramping up domestic production. India's leading phosphatic fertilizer player, Coromandel International Limited, today formalized the acquisition of 45% equity share in Baobab Mining and Chemicals Corporation, a rock phosphate mining company based in Senegal. Dr. Mandviya said India is strengthening its raw material supply security by investing in mineral-rich geographies. The Directorate of Revenue Intelligence has detected customs duty evasion of around 2,217 crore rupees by Vivo Mobile India Private Limited. Vivo India is a subsidiary company of Vivo Communication Technology Company in China. It is engaged in the business of manufacturing, assembling, wholesale trading as well as distribution of mobile handsets and accessories.
External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar today arrived in Cambodia for the India-ASEAN ministerial meeting. He visited Siem Reap, where Archaeological Survey of India ASI experts are doing conservation work. Dr. Jaishankar said the Ministry of External Affairs is proud to support these efforts. He visited the 12th century Taprom temple, currently undergoing conservation. Dr. Jaishankar met High Representative of the European Union for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy and Vice President of European Commission Josep Borrell Fontelles at the Taprom Temple Conservation Site. Mr. Fontelles appreciated the work being done there by India. The 11th session of India-South Africa Foreign Office consultations were held in New Delhi. Both sides reviewed the entire spectrum of bilateral relations covering political exchanges, defense, economic and commercial issues and consular matters. Both sides also reviewed the status of agreements under negotiation and agreed to expedite their finalization for the mutual benefit of both the countries. They decided to celebrate the upcoming completion of 30 years of ties between the two countries through cultural and sports events in India and South Africa. The South African side assured of their support for the upcoming India G20 presidency, while the Indian side expressed its support for South Africa's BRICS chairship in 2023. Both sides also discussed regional issues, global developments, and issues of common interest, including the situation in Ukraine.
President of the Maldives, Ibrahim Mohammed Solih, arrived in Mumbai today on a two-day visit. On his arrival in Mumbai from Delhi, he called on Maharashtra Governor Bhagat Singh Koshyari at Raj Bhavan. Maharashtra Deputy Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis was present on the occasion. A special lunch was organized to welcome Mr. Solih at the Raj Bhavan. He will also visit the Bombay Stock Exchange in the evening, while he is also scheduled to visit the Jawaharlal Nehru Port Trust in Navi Mumbai before returning home on Thursday.
In West Bengal, 8 new ministers were inducted into the state cabinet today. Minister of State Birbaho Hansda has been elevated to the rank of Minister of State with independent charge. Governor Laganesha administered the oath to the new ministers in the presence of Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee at Raj Bhavan this afternoon. 5 new cabinet ministers took oath in the first phase. They are Babul Supriyo, Snehashish Chakraborty, Udayan Guho, Partho Bhaumik and Pradeep Majumdar. After that, 2 independent ministers of state, Birbaho Hansda and Biplav Roy Chaudhary, also took oath. In the third phase, 2 ministers of state, Tajmul Hussain and Satyadish Burman, took oath. Administrative sources indicated that the portfolios of the new ministers will be distributed today.
You are listening to the evening news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs approves highest ever fair and remunerative price of 305 rupees per quintal for sugarcane farmers. Lok Sabha passes Central Universities Amendment Bill 2022, provides for establishing central universities in various states. Parliament passes National Anti-Doping Bill 2021. Bill prohibits athletes, athlete support personnel and other persons from engaging in doping. Centre launches State University Research Excellence Scheme to create robust research and development ecosystem. Government says coal production registered growth of over 26% during April to July this year in the country. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to inaugurate and lay the foundation stone of various projects in Gujarat at 4:30 p.m. through video conferencing tomorrow. Enforcement Directorate seals Young India office at Herald House in New Delhi. The United States issues travel advisory to its citizens, cautioning them of higher potential for anti-American violence after the death of Ayman al-Zawahiri. In Commonwealth Games in Birmingham, Lovepreet Singh wins bronze medal in men's 109 kg weightlifting. For quick news updates around the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
अपने बिजनेस को बढ़ाने के लिए लीजिए आकाशवाणी का सहयोग और दीजिए उसे बुलंदियों के पंख।
आपका बिजनेस लोकल है या राष्ट्रीय, आकाशवाणी देती है उपभोक्ताओं तक पहुंचने का हर विकल्प।
और अब तो आप घर, दफ्तर या दुकान पर बैठे बैठे कर सकते हैं आकाशवाणी के किसी भी केंद्र के लिए विज्ञापनों की बुकिंग।
आकाशवाणी के विभिन्न चैनलों पर विज्ञापन देना सुलभ और सस्ता।
बुकिंग है तो संपर्क करें 8700014242 पर।
8700014242।
Welcome back to the evening news. Here is a review of proceedings in Parliament today, first from the Rajya Sabha. Writer is Rajesh Ahuja of UNI. Parliament has passed the National Anti-Doping Bill 2022 with Rajya Sabha approving it today. Lok Sabha had passed it last Wednesday. The bill seeks to provide a statutory framework for the functioning of the National Anti-Doping Agency NADA and the National Dope Testing Laboratory NDTL in sports. Its functions include planning, implementing and monitoring anti-doping activities as well as investigating anti-doping rule violations. The bill aims at achieving time-bound justice to athletes. Apart from enhancing cooperation among agencies in fighting doping, it also reinforces India's commitment to fulfill international obligations for clean sports. The bill will lend legal sanctity to the functioning of NADA and NDTL. Replying to the debate, Youth Affairs and Sports Minister Anurag Thakur said the Standing Committee has given useful suggestions on the bill, most of which have been accepted. He said sports is a state subject and the state governments have to play an important role in enhancing sports infrastructure. The minister said India is now holding world-class events, which is evident in its rising stature in the sporting arena. He expressed happiness over the fact that the 44th Chess Olympiad is being held in Mahabalipuram in India. Setting up NADA and NDTL will fulfill the objective of Atmanirbhar Bharat as envisaged by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. He said India was working towards becoming a global centre for testing. The minister said an awareness program will be launched for anti-doping. He said the bill has also special provisions for spreading awareness about doping. The minister said the allocation for sports was increased from 866 crore rupees in 2013-14 to 2,250 crore rupees this year. Following the minister's reply, the House adopted the bill by a voice vote. After the passage of the bill, the House passed statutory resolutions moved by Minister of State for Finance Pankaj Chaudhary to increase excise duty on some steel items. Initiating the discussion on the bill, Dipender Hooda of the Congress said the bill is a welcome one as it will encourage sporting culture in the country. He said the bill does not specify at which level testing for doping will be held. Dr. D.P. Vats of BJP suggested that men of integrity should be appointed to the National Board of Anti-Doping in Sports. Shantanu Sen of Trinamool Congress said there was no clarity on some clauses mentioned in the bill. N.R. Ilango of DMK said the recommendations of the Standing Committee have not been considered for framing of the bill. John Brittas of the CPIM expressed concern on low allocation for sports in the union budget. Fawzia Khan of the NCP, Amar Patnaik of BJD, S. Phangnon Konyok of the BJP and Mausam Noor of Trinamool Congress also participated in the discussion. Moving the National Anti-Doping Bill 2022 in the House, Youth Affairs and Sports Minister Anurag Thakur said the bill would help in the establishment of the National Board of Anti-Doping in Sports with competent and independent personnel. Earlier in the morning, Leader of Opposition Mallikarjun Kharge demanded a discussion on the alleged misuse of probe agencies like the Enforcement Directorate by the Centre. Priyanka Chaturvedi of Shiv Sena also raised the issue of arrest of Sanjay Raut of her party. Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu, however, refused permission to members to raise the issues. During Zero Hour, Vaiko of NDMK expressed concern on the decision of the Sri Lankan government to allow a Chinese vessel to dock at the Hambantota port next month. Binoy Vishwam of CPI raised the issue of women being denied benefits of Pradhan Mantri Poshan Yojana due to the absence of Aadhaar cards. His party colleague Santosh Kumar highlighted the issue of medical inflation in the country. Ajay Pratap Singh of BJP called for home delivery of medicines by CSD canteens in the country to benefit ex-servicemen. Ami Yagnik of Congress urged the centre to facilitate affordable access to treatment to cancer patients in the country. Luisinho Filero of Trinamool Congress raised the issue of condition of seamen in Goa. Harbhajan Singh of Aam Aadmi Party raised the issue of attack on Sikhs in a Gurudwara in Afghanistan. His party colleague Sanjay Singh expressed concern on the condition of contractual employees in railways. Under special mention, Ajit Kumar Bhuya, Independent, raised the issue of non-stoppage of Rajdhani Express at Rania Junction. Responding to a question, Road Transport and Highways Minister Nitin Gadkari expressed the hope that the road infrastructure in India will be similar to that of the US by 2024. He said the government is constructing 26 green highways. He assured the House that there is no dearth of funds. Responding to a question on low conviction rate under the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act UAPA, Minister of State for Home Affairs Nityananda Rai said state governments can also file cases under UAPA. Responding to a question, Women and Child Development Minister Smriti Irani said the centre as well as the state governments prioritize safety and security of women across the country.
And now a review of proceedings in Lok Sabha. Writer is Achint Bora of PTI. Lok Sabha today passed the Central Universities Amendment Bill 2022 by a voice vote after a brief discussion. It seeks to convert the National Rail and Transportation University, a deemed to be university, into Gati Shakti Vishwavidyalaya, an autonomous central university. The bill also seeks to expand the scope of the university from beyond the railways to cover the entire transport sector to support the ambitious growth and modernization in the field, and was passed by a voice vote after a brief discussion. Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan said the legislation will generate appropriate human resources to meet the needs of the growing infrastructure in the country. The bill envisaged to rename the National Rail and Transportation Institute Vadodara as the Gati Shakti Vishwavidyalaya, India's first transport institute. The minister said, "This is the 21st century infrastructure that we are trying to create." Railway Minister Shwini Vaishnaw said, the focus of the institute will be on 5 major aspects: transport-focused courses, skill development, applied research, technology development, and transport economics and infrastructure financing. While headquarters will be in Vadodara, there will be campuses across the country which will be developed as centers of excellence, he added. The minister said, transportation is a complex sector and globally all countries have such institutes. He urged the opposition not to play with the future of students. Ranjana Ben Bhatt of BJP said, the advancement of technology has made it imperative for training in specialized fields and the need for such courses which would guarantee immediate jobs. Supporting the bill, Kaushalendra Kumar of JDU raised the issue of granting Central University status to Patna University and the Nalanda Mahavihar University. Chandrasekhar Sahu of BJD demanded more central universities in Odisha. Hasnan Masoodi of National Conference, while supporting the bill, urged the establishment of an Institute of Tourism and Hospitality at Pahalgam in Jammu and Kashmir. Bhartruhari Mehtab of BJD, Ratan Lal Kataria and SS Ahluwalia, both BJP, also spoke on the bill. The government today withdrew the Data Protection Bill from Lok Sabha. It was introduced on the 11th of December 2019. The bill was referred to the Joint Committee of the Houses for examination, and the report of the Joint Committee was presented to the Lok Sabha on the 16th of December 2021. The Energy Conservation Amendment Bill 2001 was introduced by Power Minister R.K. Singh in Lok Sabha today. It seeks to make it mandatory for buildings with a minimum connected load of 100 kilowatt to meet their energy requirements from renewable sources. Saugat Rai of Trinamool Congress opposed the introduction of the bill, stating that the bill has nothing to improve the introduction of green hydrogen, green ammonia and other non-fossil fuels. He urged the government to bring more comprehensive draft legislation. That's all in Parliament Review.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate and lay the foundation stone of various projects of Srimad Rajchandra Mission Dharampur in Gujarat tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. through video conferencing. He will inaugurate Srimad Rajchandra Hospital at Dharampur in Valsad district. The cost of the entire project is around 200 crore rupees. The government has made free entry for visitors and tourists to all its protected monuments and sites across the country from the 5th to the 15th of August. In a tweet, Tourism Minister G. Kishan Reddy said the decision has been taken under the aegis of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav and the 75th Independence Day celebrations. The Director General of Archaeological Survey of India has said that no fee will be charged at all the ticketed centrally protected monuments and archaeological sites from the 5th to the 15th of August this year.
अब हर घर की छत पर शान से फहरेगा तिरंगा, गुनगुनाए जाएंगे नव विकास के गीत, आन बान शान का प्रतीक राष्ट्रध्वज तिरंगा। आइए आजादी के अमृत महोत्सव के पावन अवसर पर इस स्वाधीनता दिवस हर घर फहराते हैं तिरंगा और लेते हैं भव्य और सशक्त भारत के निर्माण का संकल्प।
आइए हर घर फहराएं तिरंगा।
The Enforcement Directorate has sealed the Young India office at the Herald House in New Delhi. The agency has instructed that the premises not to be opened without its prior permission. The ED took action a day after the agency had carried out searches at 12 locations in the National Herald case. The ED is investigating alleged financial irregularities at Congress-promoted Young India Private Limited, which owns the National Herald. In Rajasthan, more than 94,000 cattle have been infected with lumpy skin disease, while more than 4,200 animals have died so far due to this disease. A central team from Bhopal today took 60 samples from 5 Gaushalas in highly affected Nagaur districts. Special teams have been deployed for survey and treatment of the cattle, the minister added.
The United States has issued a travel advisory to its citizens, cautioning them regarding the higher potential for anti-American violence after the death of Ayman al-Zawahiri. The U.S. government in the advisory issued on Tuesday said supporters of Al-Qaeda or its affiliated terrorist organizations may seek to attack U.S. facilities, personnel or citizens. It added that as terrorist attacks often occur without warning, U.S. citizens are strongly encouraged to maintain a high level of vigilance and practice good situational awareness when travelling abroad. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has congratulated Lovepreet Singh for winning the bronze medal in men's 109 kg weightlifting at Commonwealth Games. In a tweet, Mr. Modi said the young and dynamic Lovepreet has impressed everyone with his calm temperament and dedication to sports. He extended his best wishes for all his future endeavours. And now news from Commonwealth Games from Birmingham. Lovepreet Singh bagged a bronze medal in men's 109 kg weightlifting while setting a national record in the clean and jerk round. Indian women beat Canada 3-2 to qualify for the hockey semi-final. In men's hockey, the Indian men's team thrashed Canada 8-0 in a Pool B match. Tulika Mann has reached the final of judo women's plus 78 kg category. In boxing, Neetu Singh entered the semi-finals by defeating Nicole Clyde in the quarter-final of women's 45 to 48 kilograms. Boxer Hussam Uddin Muhammad entered the semi-final of featherweight category, defeated Trayagen Morning of Namibia. He is now assured of a bronze medal at least. In round 2 of the lawn bowls, Indian women's pair of Lovely Chaube and Manish Saikia won their match 23-6. Mridul Borgohain jumped to second in his group and stays in the medal contention. In squash, Sunaina Sara Kuruvilla won singles plate final against Guyana's Mary Fongapat-Gai. She won by a margin of 3-0. In the medals tally, India is placed at the 6th spot with a total of 14 medals comprising 5 gold, 5 silver and 4 bronze.
The Sensex and the Nifty today gained marginally amid positive cues from global share markets. The Sensex finished above 58,350 points while the Nifty settled above 17,350 level. In the forex market, the rupee appreciated to 78 rupees and 72 paise against the US dollar. Now let us have a look at the weather forecast from tomorrow. National capital Delhi is expected to have a generally cloudy sky with moderate rain. The minimum temperature will be around 27 degrees Celsius while the maximum may touch 33 degrees. Mumbai is likely to have a generally cloudy sky with light rain. The minimum temperature will be 25 degrees Celsius and the maximum will be around 31 degrees. Kolkata is expected to have a partly cloudy sky with possibility of moderate rain or thunderstorm. The minimum temperature will be around 27 degrees Celsius and maximum will be around 34 degrees. Chennai will witness thunderstorm with rain. The minimum temperature will be 26 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 32 degrees. Srinagar will have a partly cloudy sky. The minimum temperature will be around 17 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 27 degrees. Jammu and Muzaffarabad will have a partly cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers, 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. Leh and Gilgit will have a mainly clear sky. The minimum temperature in Leh will be around 9 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 27 degrees. Gilgit will witness a partly cloudy sky with the minimum temperature be around 19 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 34 degrees.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs approves highest ever fair and remunerative price of 305 rupees per quintal for sugarcane farmers. Lok Sabha passes Central Universities Amendment Bill 2022 provides for establishing central universities in various states. Parliament passes National Anti-Doping Bill 2021. Bill prohibits athletes, athlete support personnel and other persons from engaging in doping. Centre launches State University Research Excellence Scheme to create robust research and development ecosystem. Government says coal production registered growth of over 26% during April to July this year in the country. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to inaugurate and lay foundation stone of various projects in Gujarat at 4:30 p.m. through video conferencing tomorrow. Enforcement Directorate seals Young India office at Herald House in New Delhi. In Commonwealth Games in Birmingham, Lovepreet Singh wins bronze medal in men's 109 kilogram weightlifting. And with that, we end the evening news. Good night.